We call it people technology.
Well, who would have thought after Rajasthan's abysmal batting effort against Mumbai that that wouldn't end up being their lowest score of the campaign? It's happened in back-to-back games at Sharjah. They're going to be taking the first flight out. The Royals, they've gone down to the Knight Riders by 86. That's the margin of difference on a rare occasion being more than the total team score of the team chasing. 85 all out Rajasthan. And we look back at what's been a disappointing season for the Royals and an inspiring effort by KKR in the second leg of the IPL. On Maruti Suzuki Presents, ESPN cricket for T20 timeout. They didn't have to do it with so much pressure when Gautam Gambhir used to be captain. They usually used to make the playoffs comfortably. As it turns out, though, they made the UAE leg their own. Let's consider for all practical purposes, they have made the playoffs. Mumbai Indians need to win by 171. That's the margin of victory they need on the final day against Sunrisers. As bad as Sunrisers' season has been, you think that's highly unlikely to happen. So let's look back at this, Gotham. This is just the kind of performance KKR would have wanted in a game that was under pressure, in a game that they did lose an important toss.
Absolutely ruthless. And that is what
Hmm.
you expect out of KKR, the two-time winning franchise. You expect them to be ruthless, you expect them to be absolutely professional, and that is what they delivered today. And especially in a game that they were also equally under pressure, uh, like what Rajasthan was. And then
Hmm.
throwing a punch like this shows a lot of character and spirit and the talent in the dressing room.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about KKR here, right? Because it's a great story. It's a complete performance today, and they had to do it the hard way. The work they left themselves for the second leg got them. They had some tough fixtures going into the UAE leg. They played Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, and Delhi in back-to-back games. They won three out of four there. They had some tough defeats to Chennai and Punjab, yet they've bounced back. Just take me your thoughts through what's transformed this team in the second leg of the IPL.
When you've got nothing to lose, when you come into a second leg, plus the most important thing was at the break, because
Hmm.
once you start off that first leg, which you didn't perform to the best of your ability, and had that tournament continued from there on, it would have been difficult for them to recover. But because you had a break, guys just went back to their places, came back after a couple of months, so they were fresh, not a lot of baggage, thinking that what has happened in the first leg, and then suddenly they started off really well. The first game against Mumbai Indians was probably the toughest game which KK had to play, and then they obviously played really, really well. From there on, they started that campaign, and once you get on a roll, it gets a little easier. And then they played. Obviously, the second game was RCB, which was probably equally tough, and then they that was a convincing win as well. Once you get these two teams out of your way, then things starts looking really, really good going forward.
You must be particularly pleased too that they've had to do it without some of their international names firing. Morgan's been under poor form. Russell and Lockie Ferguson have missed a large part through injury. Sunil Narayan's been very good, but by and large, the heavy lifting's been done by the Indian contingent, hasn't it?
No, absolutely. That's a great story, and that's a great sign as well. Venkatesh Iyer, Rahul Tripathi, Shubman Gill, Nitesh Rana, Varun Chakravarti, all those guys have actually performed and delivered when it mattered the most. For me, I think yes, the batting really looked good, but for me, bowling was the standout thing, especially the
Yeah.
combination of Lockie Ferguson, Varun Chakravarti, and Sunil Naran.
Yeah, I thought after Prasidh Krishna's expensive over against Jadeja, he was unlucky to miss out immediately. They tried Sandeep Warrior, they went to Shivam Mavi, and I was thinking, what's KKR doing here? But it looks like Mavi is coming good at just the right time of the tournament.
Yeah, but Prasid did nothing wrong, to be honest. He was really, really good in the first two games. You can go for runs and probably in one of the games, but then it was a little unfortunate. Yes, Shivam Mavi came in and then grabbed his opportunity with both the hands.
Momentum's a dangerous thing. What's this likely to do to KKR now? Are they the feared team against RCB, who still have some questions to answer? CSK have had a poor run going into the playoffs. What do you think these sort of wins can do for KKR in the playoffs?
So obviously, you go into the next game really confident. Plus, you're playing at Sharjah, which is again another plus, where you've done really well and you've got the bowling lineup to actually probably trouble anyone. But RCB is a completely different beast, and I'm sure RCB's got the batting lineup. Plus, at the same time, I think both the teams will be under equal pressure. It's not like obviously RCB will be under less pressure, KKR will be under less pressure because they know that if there's a slip up, there's no recovery from there on. They don't finish in the top two where they get another opportunity. So again, whoever handles pressure better will go on to win. Plus, RCB's got the batting lineup and they've got some reasonably good bowlers as well. Harshal Patel is doing really well. Plus, Yuzvendra Chahal is doing really well. So it's going to be a good game. And I hope it's going to be a good game because you want to see a good game. You want to see a good game because two good sides going against each other. should not be a game like what it was today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the playoffs will give us the best standard of cricket in the tournament. At least it should. Would you also want the best set of players then there? I thought Andre Russell, without them, would KKR really struggle, but all of a sudden seems to be falling into place. If Russell's fit, or even if he's reasonably fit, would you want him back into a playoff game?
Now, if he doesn't bowl, he doesn't come in. I would.
Hmm.
What wrong has Shakib done? For me, if
Yeah.
he's fit, if he's willing to do both, if he's willing to deliver in both the departments, batting and bowling, I would pick him. But if he says that he can only bat, he can't bowl, then I would probably go with Shakib, because you need that sixth bowling option against a batting lineup like RCB. You can't just go with five bowlers or four bowlers with a part timer of Nitish Rana or Venkatesh Iyer. That's
Hmm.
probably walking on the edge, and you would not want to walk on the edge, especially in a playoff game.
Hmm. All right, let's talk about the Rajasthan Royals now. More opportunity to talk about KKR in a couple of days. But these two games, they've gone down so badly, so timidly, Gautam. And to think they were actually best placed going into the last two games. Had they won against Mumbai and Kolkata, they didn't worry about anything else. They would have made the playoffs. Just the manner in which they folded. How do you sum up their season?
See, you can't blame the wicket, because there's the other opposition who's completely destroyed or probably won the game really convincingly. Even if you look at Mumbai Indians, you got all out for 90, but they chased it down in what, 8 overs. Today, the opposition got to 170, you got knocked out for 80 something. That's not how you're supposed to play. In fact, see, I've always been a believer that yes, you can go down, and there will always be a winners. One team will lose and the other team will win. Someone will lose, someone will win. But you've got to have an accountability. You've got to play for your fans. That's the most important thing. You can't disappoint your fans, because all you do is probably for your loyal fans, they will support you whether you do well or whether you don't do well. So your accountability is towards your owners, it's towards your teammates, but most importantly it's towards your fan as well. What I saw of today, it was a complete surrender. Apart from what, Rahul Tewatia, had he not played that knock, you could have punted out for even 50. And that's somewhere down the line, it's shocking,
Hmm.
because you've been a franchise for last 14 years, and it's been what, 13 years you haven't won the tournament. So it just surprises me, because somewhere down the line accountability starts from the top. We can keep chopping and changing players, all that is fine. You can change as many players as you can. They in fact changed what, 29 players in this leg, which
Yeah.
amazes me. 29 players. If you can change, yes, there is no Jofra Archer, no Ben Stokes, no Josh Butler, but that's too many players you're chopping and changing.
Hmm.
So if players do not perform, if you chop and change, the same should apply for the support staff as well.
Hmm.
It can't just be different rules for different people and other rules for other people. So for me, I think it has to be accountability from the top. Hopefully, there will be an accountability, because it's been a long, long rope where I think they haven't done anything which is significant.
I read a lot from the Rajasthan fan base of how this has been an unlucky franchise, and they lost the likes of Butler and Archer and Stokes, and those are three massive shoes to fill. They did finish bottom last year as well, we should point out. But how much do you afford them a little bit of benefit of doubt there that they were unlucky with big players missing out?
No, but then there are other franchises who've missed big players as well.
Hmm.
KKR had to do it without Lockie Ferguson and Andrew Russell.
Yes.
Their Indian players delivered when it mattered the most. You had Sanju Samson, who's no more a youngster. Rahul Tewatia is no more a youngster. Shivam Dubey is no more a youngster. Jaydev Unadkat is no more a youngster. Evan Lewis is a powerhouse in T20 cricket. You've got Chris Morris, who you invested so much into in the last auction. You had Mustafizur, who's a world-class bowler in T20 format. He's probably the leading bowler for Bangladesh. Yes, you can keep talking about if you want to find excuses. There are so many excuses anyone and everyone can find. But then somewhere down the line, you need to be practical and probably see yourself in the mirror as well. Did we deliver? No, you did not deliver. That's the bottom line. Did you play good cricket? No, you did not play good cricket, except that one game against Chennai. In that game, you were ruthless. Everything went your way. After that, you played some very mediocre cricket. The sooner you accept, the sooner you will move forward. But if you keep finding excuses, there is no Josh Butler, no Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer, but you still manage to replace them with quality cricketer. Liam Livingstone is no less a cricketer, or for that
Hmm.
matter, even Lewis is no less a cricketer. You still had decent four overseas. Well, what did your Indian talent do apart from Sanju Samson? No one else delivered for you when it mattered the most. You invested so much into a young boy, Ryan Prague, but he hasn't delivered it for you. So it's
Hmm.
unfortunate. See, for me, I think, again, I'll keep going back to the same thing. Unless and until you will not have accountability, you will keep getting the same performances.
Right, back to the drawing board for the Royals. Big auction coming up. They finished seventh in the IPL. This result confirms that both the Royals and the Punjab Kings season is over. Punjab Kings is admirably as they played today a little too late, and they did drop some important points along the way. Gautam, that's pretty much it. Let's pick up this conversation tomorrow. It's a bit of a dead rubber, isn't it? You don't think
Yeah,
Mumbai Indians are going to win by 170 runs, even
no,
if
I
it
don't
is
think
against the
it's gonna be.
Sunrisers.
I don't think so. It's a dead rubber.
But we'll have some fun. We'll bring in Daniel Vittori as well. He's coming in at just the right time in the wee hours in the morning in New Zealand. He's going to be watching games that are of little consequence. But there's a big auction coming up. I'm sure Dan's also in the market for a job next year in the IPL. He will be watching very closely. All right, Gautam. Let's talk
Cheers.
tomorrow, shall we? Thank you
Cheers.
very much. Always a pleasure
Thanks.
talking to you on
Pleasure's
Smartphone
mine.
Cricket presents ESPN looking for T20 time out. Wonderful. If you're a KKR fan, they're going to muscle their way into the finals. Yes, that is that little asterisk of Mumbai needing to win by 170, but come on, it's not going to happen. If it does, it should make for a hell of a day tomorrow. Join us then.
We call it people technology.